And I opened the door and there was Jesus. And I'm like, oh, Jesus was coming. So I was like thinking like, oh yeah, that's right. So we were gathering like, okay guys, we got to be prepared. We have to be prepared to get in our house and be prepared for his coming. And I opened the door. I'm like happy. I'm like, Jesus, like he's here to take us. And he looked at me and he wasn't smiling. He was kind of frowning and he just shook his head at me. And the door had shut, or he had left. I can't remember that part. Like maybe the door shut on his own and he left. And I just kind of stood there stumped, like, why didn't he take me with him? Why did he tell me no? Why did he shake his head? I just don't understand. I'm a Christian. I don't get it. We were ready for his coming. Like I was like, oh Jesus, like I know who you are. But he shook his head at me, and I was devastated. I was so sad.
And I could tell what he's saying in his heart. He's saying, Dom, why aren't you going with them? And then he starts screaming, Jesus, Jesus. And then my friend to the right of him starts screaming, Jesus. And this light is like exposing us. It's trying to expose us and shine bright on us. And this is what scares me about my dream. Is I started running from the light. We all started running and sprinting from the light. And we just ran and it kept trying to shine on us, but we wouldn't let it. We wouldn't let the light shine on us. We were terrified of the light. It was like we were so scared of this light. And I just ran and ran and ran. I don't know what this means. I need someone to help me.
I didn't see Jesus return. I only heard the trumpets. I was on earth still. I'm saved, so that doesn't make sense. I was left on earth. So after the trumpets blew, the saved were just like already gone. I mean, they were like already gone, like almost like they were already gone, like before they even blew.
Will only a few select people make it to heaven? And will billions and billions of people burn forever in hell? And if that's the case, how do you become one of the few? Is it what you believe, or what you say, or what you do, or who you know, or something that happens in your heart? Or do you need to be initiated, or baptized, or take a class, or converted, or being born again? How does one become one of these few? And then there is the question behind the questions, the real question: what is God like? Because millions and millions of people were taught that the primary message, the center of the gospel of Jesus, is that God is going to send you to hell unless you believe in Jesus. And so what gets subtly sort of caught and taught is that Jesus rescues you from God. Jesus rescues you from God. Jesus rescues you from God. But what kind of God is that we would need to be rescued from this God? How could that God ever be good? How could that God ever be trusted? And how could that ever be good news?
I'm going to tell you what I saw because it was troubling. Millions of people left behind, Christians, people I knew. I will not call names, but I saw people that I knew, that I know serve God, worship, outreach ministries, prophesied. I saw so many people that I knew left behind. And I said, Jesus, why is she, why is he, why are they left behind? Jesus spoke to me and he said, they were left behind because every time they bought the lie, their heart got hardened to the truth.
And I was looking for my mother, my mom now. I look on her bed, she wasn't there. I look all over the house, she wasn't there. I was calling, yo, mom, where are you? Nobody. It's like she was just disappeared. And then it hit me, bam. She went, the rapture happened, and she went, and I was left back. And yo, that fear, just knowing that you left back and you missed this rapture, a fear just come over you like a cloak, dog. And This fear is so intense.
Like, I don't want my children to go to hell. They don't understand. I don't know if they've been praying. I don't know what they believe. I don't know if they truly believe, or they're just faking for me. I don't know. And I even looked to them and I said, why aren't y'all lifted? Why? What is going on? Why are y'all still here? Y'all are children. What have you done? I'm just freaking out like, what could you have done? What is wrong? Why are you not part of the plan?
And it was like fire in the sky, and it was moving like water, like if you go to the ocean and the way waves come, that's the way the fire was moving, but it was slow. Like nothing was burning on the ground, but it was fire just coming. And I just held my daughter in my arm and I said, Jesus is coming. And next thing I know, all I did was hear a bunch of people yelling. And I looked around, the people that were around me, even outside, had disappeared. Everyone who was left on earth. It was a crowd of people. We heard this voice that said, it's time. So as we all looked off into the distance, it was just this huge flame coming at us.
We look up in the sky and it looked like meteors were like coming down, like shooting stars were just coming out of the sky. I could end up seeing Jesus in the clouds. And he was there and he was huge. He like took up the majority of the sky, but not all of the sky. It was just like a big, just like bam, he was right there. You could see him. Now, I was on the side where it was still dark, still red, and everybody was just kind of like derp, you know, like doing their own thing, like not knowing what's going on. And at this point, I ended up looking on the other side where the line cut, and it was like the sky was a bright blue sky with clouds, and everybody that was on the right side of me was happy. It was almost like when your favorite entertainer, when you go to a concert, comes out, they were just cheering, they were all in white robes, just happy, just like rah. And on the side that I was on, it was like depressing, you know? It was like, man, you know, I want to be on that other side. These guys are partying and having fun and, you know, just enjoying life. And it's like, I don't want to get left behind, you know? Like I started to feel bad and nervous. I was like, man, I'm getting left behind, you know? These guys are over here, they're getting raptured, you know? And I'm over here on the bad side, you know?
It was in the middle of the day, super bright sunshine, and then all of a sudden, black clouds just covered overhead. And then we looked up and it was just completely black. In the middle of the day, we could see that it was clouds. And we heard on the news that that happened over the whole world. And people started freaking out and getting scared. And then we heard on the news that millions of people had just disappeared. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, I got left behind. And people just started turning evil and trying to kill us. And so as we're preaching, people were coming to kill us. And I started singing, there's power in the name of Jesus. And then somebody threw a knife and it went into my back. And then I woke up.
And I suddenly heard the trumpet blast. I heard like the shofar. And I knew it was the rapture. And I immediately prayed to be taken, to not be left behind. And what happened then was I felt my legs and feet beginning to raise up. They raised up off the ground and there was a force that was taking them up. And I was beginning to be taken up, but the middle of my body didn't lift up the ground, and then my arms started to lift up. My shoulders did, but this middle part of my body was too heavy to lift up. And I prayed, and I tried to even help myself by just like pushing myself up, but it was no use. I was too heavy to go, and that may have been symbolic of my heart being too heavy to go, and I was left behind.
My daughter was there, and immediately I saw the clouds move, then the sky was moved, and then I could see people in heaven, and they were looking down, and then few people were taken up, and then the sky went back, and it was again like nothing happened, but already people were taken, and I was not taken, my daughter was not taken, and immediately.
And I could see somebody open the door, come upstairs, and they go right to me, and they stay at the doorpost. And I'm pinned down. I don't know if it was a demon or what, but I'm pinned down. My whole bottom half, I can't move. Like I'm stuck. Like somebody's sitting on me. And my arms, I could move. And I was going like, I was moving my hands and stuff like that. But anyway, I knew it was Jesus. And even though like I couldn't see him or anything, it was like dark. I couldn't see anything. But I knew it was Jesus. And then I also knew I was getting left behind for following false prophets.
I was so excited to know that Jesus was here because I had been praying and waiting for his presence to arrive. Then we spotted an area that looked like some type of cloudy mist. It was like just like mist, and it looked like kind of like a cloud, and it was just kind of on the ground, and we all were running to it, and we just knew it was Jesus. So I kind of like ran through the crowd because I really wanted to get to Jesus, and I knew that was him. And when I went into that cloud, I knew that was Jesus right there, and I put my arms out and I was like, Jesus, and I gave him a hug, and I felt his arms, y'all. I felt him hug. I felt me like kind of hug him real tight, and he held me tight too, and he was like laughing, and it's like a chuckle, After he finished hugging me, he took the people that was around him, but he did not like take me, and so I was left behind. I was left behind. I was left behind.